Welcome to the Cheer Athlete. Today we're going to talk about how to manage some wrist pain, and let's touch base on the Olympics and the amazing things that we're seeing in the Olympics this year, as well as will cheerleading ever be a sport in the Olympics? If you don't know me, I'm Laura Turner. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I'm a strength coach, and I help cheerleaders and coaches and parents navigate the physical therapy, exercise, fitness, and injury prevention and skill progression for cheerleading. Thank you for joining me today. And I had a great question because a few months ago, I had posted a reel on Instagram, help with wrist pain. And it there was some background noise because we were filming at a conference that I was at. And so it was really hard to hear. And so the question was, could we redo this video and post it without the music in the background? I can't do that because I don't work close by with Betsy Russo, who's the occupational therapist that was in the video with me, but we can talk about it and we can definitely talk about how to manage wrist pain. Um, so wrist pain is very common in cheerleading, especially for bases and tumblers, and it happens when we get a lot of compression through our wrists. A lot of it is our wrists are extended and we need to hold weight in that. And so it causes a lot of compression in through the wrist joint. And as you know, you have some discomfort and some pain when this happens. So how do we manage this? So Betsy gave some awesome tips for some stretching, and she talked a lot about. She talked about stretching the wrist flexors, which are on the actual palm side of your hand. And for demonstration, she had shown palm up, fingers up, and you're going to pull your hand back to feel the stretch in through here. Now, I think this gets a lot into the fingers and the palm, which is very important. I like to do it with palm up, fingers down, and the elbow can be bent to get started and gradually coming out to straight so that you're going to feel the stretch into the forearm. And it should feel like a nice stretch. You shouldn't get that compression in through the wrist. So this is important and is part of general mobility. And if the wrist is feeling tight and sore, that can absolutely help. I also think stretching the wrist extensors, in the opposite direction. So fingers down and pulling the hand down, potentially making a fist to stretch the back of the forearm will help a lot in allowing you to get that full range of motion that we need to be able to hold somebody in a stunt or be able to weight bear into a handstand or a back handspring or any of the above. We all know that I'm not a fan of stretching in general because I think it inhibits muscles. So I don't ever recommend just doing a stretch before you practice. I think if things are tight after practice and sore, that can absolutely help with some managing of pain and symptoms. One exercise I give a lot is on weight bearing. So you're on your hands and knees and rocking forward and back. You can turn your fingers towards you and rock forward and back. That'll help to manage some, it'll give you a big stretch in through fingers and the wrist flexors. And if you do a little rock, you're actually creating some movement in the joint and the muscles to help not just lengthen them, but get them used to moving through full range of motion. Betsy also talked about the 8 rocks in the bone in the hand, and they're carpal bones. There's 8 different bones that sit kind of in right where if you can see my hand, if you're watching on video, and you can see there's 2 bones on the forearm, the radius and the ulna, and the radius is your thumb side, and the ulna is your pinky side. And so just above them is your radiocarpal joint, and that's where those 8 rocks sit. And those 8 bones, they need to move forward and back, side to side, and they need to rotate and twist. And so if they get jammed up or they get stuck and tight because they haven't moved a lot, they can feel really sore. So doing things like wrist circles, doing some finger flexion extension, wrist up and down. I like to come in and do some basic mobilization. So holding one of those rocks and just giving a little wiggle sometimes. Those can help to loosen that up. And if we're really stiff through our wrist joints and we add load to it by either having a flyer on our hands or we are tumbling, that can create a lot of impingement and pain and discomfort. And if they're not strong enough, then that leads to pain and creates all the kinds of issues. I don't love taping to fix the problem. It's not going to fix the problem. taping can help a lot with managing symptoms. So if you need to, while you are competing, using tape, see if that helps to take a little strain off and gives you some support and gives you that strength. Now, if you're going to do it long term, you don't need your coaches taping you at every single practice or competition. So you might look into getting a wrist splint. In the episode with Brandi Smith, she talked about using a wrist splint, and she has a couple of different recommendations. And I'll link that episode into this show notes so that you can go back and listen to that and find the splints that she recommends. Betsy also recommended doing some splinting if you're having acute pain to just kind of get things to quiet down and to feel more comfortable. So splinting, whether it's taping or actually buying something over the counter that allows you to move your wrist but supports it at the same time, can really help to kind of deload that and make it more comfortable when you are at practice or when you're stunting. I don't love wearing splints for the long haul because I do think that you don't use your muscles as well. So I think as a symptom management, it's good, but our goal should always be to let go of it and train around. So get that mobility back and then build some strength in it. And then Betsy also talked about using some ice. If symptoms are sore, if it's really aching, throbbing, nagging, constant, ice will help to calm that down. So after you've done a workout, a lot of times, get wrist pain with bench pressing or shoulder pressing because they're compensating some. So if it's after a workout or a practice or a competition, put some ice on that can help to reduce those symptoms and calm that down. Conversely, if things are really tight, heat can actually help. And if you're in a chronic state and it's been ongoing for a long time, heat might feel better than ice. And I'm okay with trying whatever one feels better. Neither's going to fix the problem, but it can give you some symptom management in the short term, which can be really helpful to allow you to continue. From there, you really got to work on strength, not to strengthen the wrist. I think a lot of times we need to stretch the wrists out and actually strengthen our lats, the back of our arms, our pulling motions, and get them good and strong because our wrist muscles will compensate for them, or our upper back and the rhomboids and the biceps. If we're not stabilizing through our upper back, getting our shoulders down and back, and we are holding here, then our wrists have to do all the work. But if we can get our shoulders, our lats, our scapula, and our upper arms engaged, they can do the work, which are bigger muscles than your hand and your wrist, and they'll be better at providing that stability for the hand and wrist and take a little pressure off. And same goes with tumbling. If we don't have that stability in the overhead position and we don't have that motion through our shoulders or upper back, our wrist may take the pressure from that. And so strengthening your rotator cuff, your upper back muscles, your rhomboids, your middle trap, your lower trap, your serratus, even your pecs and your biceps and your triceps, all of that can help to take the strain off the wrist. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do these, but they should be staples in your strength training program going into the season and the next month or so. You might only be getting it twice a weekend, but they should, all those pulling motions and pushing motions should be as part of your regular routine to help take some pressure off the wrists and allow you to move a little bit easier and better. So there's a lot of it depends on wrist pain. A lot of times you will have not just wrist pain. So if it's wrist pain in cheer, it's usually localized at the wrist. A lot of times the wrist muscles that move your wrist up and down will affect what happens at the elbow. So you might need to strengthen around the elbow. You might need to make sure you're not hyperextending your elbow. It all depends. And if you have ongoing pain, remember, this is not medical advice here because I don't know you. So if you're having ongoing pain, get checked out. You might start with your trainer. You might go see your physical therapist or an occupational therapist and really get the specific exercises that you need to help your wrist feel better, move better, get your upper body working so that you're not creating that impact on the wrist. So recapping the stretches for your wrists, you can come palms up, which you'll get a little bit more into the palmar and a little bit down into the bottom of the wrist flexor. If you get compression in through that top, that might be too much. Don't push into pinching. I like to go palm up, fingers down, and then my hand on my palm so that you are getting a nice stretch through the whole front of the arm. Don't hike through the shoulder, keep that stabilized. We're also going to stretch the back of the wrist, which is your wrist extensors. So fingers down, make an easy fist, and then pull in. You can have the elbow bent if you need to, or straighten for a bigger stretch. And then you can be at weight bearing on hands and knees or on a table, fingers forward, fingers back, doing a little bit of rocking to help create that mobility and create some stability at the same time. So I hope that's helpful. If you have questions and if you want more information, definitely check out the interview with Brandi Smith. And if you need to reach out to Betsy, I can connect you with her as well. I'll put her contact info in the show notes as well. All right, let's get on to the topic at hand this week. The Olympics are in full swing, and isn't it amazing? If you're listening to me from outside the US, I really appreciate you listening. And I think that's so amazing that like there's somebody's listening to me, not in my hometown. So thank you so much for listening. And I hope you are enjoying and your country is crushing it. I am really only paying attention to the US because there's so much going on and it's fun to watch them. Um, uh, Side note, I was paying attention to the girls gymnastics Italy team because my grandparents are from Italy, and so I have family there, and I still have a strong connection and love for Italy. So I'm always cheering for them, and I've been to London and Scotland, so I'm always cheering for you too. But anyways, my favorites, of course, have been gymnastics so far. Swimming's been pretty amazing, but gymnastics. Did you see the men's gymnastics? And the men stand out to me because I just think they connected. And you don't see a lot of emotion a lot of times with guy sports, but it was really cool. They were so solid as a team and cheering each other on and just really into it and really performing amazing. And so kudos to you guys. Kudos to the women's gymnastics. Wow, gold medal! Like it's incredible. And to watch how hard they trained was just amazing. One thing Simone said last night, and I'm sure I don't have the quote exactly right, but the point of it was when you train right, when you allow yourself enough rest, when you are paying attention to what your body needs, whether it be mentally, physically, spiritually, you come out as a better person overall and you have a much better experience. And I think that's a key takeaway for every athlete. I know gymnasts train like crazy hard and they're in the gym 6 hours a day, like on top of school or work, and eating and doing homework and all of that. Like they're in there all the time. And it's a lot of training. One might say if you're a physical therapist, it's too much, but to make it to the Olympics, I think that's kind of what you need to do. So kudos to you. I think that's a huge takeaway that we all need to listen to. Like you gotta listen to your body. You gotta, if you're a coach listening to this, you gotta give your kids enough time off, but not too much time off, so that they can find that balance of life and the amount of work they have to put in, so that they can recover, they can get into it and really embrace it so they enjoy the whole process and not just get to the peak competition and feel burnt out and hate it and want to walk away. So kudos to you, Simone, for bringing light to this and keeping pushing forward, and amazing job on your gold medal. Let's talk about cheerleading in the Olympics. I posted on opening ceremonies, I post on Instagram about couldn't wait for 2028 and hopefully in LA the cheerleading was going to make its debut as an Olympic sport. And someone called me out and said it's already been decided they're not considered an Olympic sport in 2028. And I just felt deflated because I think we're all like super excited we can't wait till cheerleading is recognized as a sport and seen in the Olympics and finally makes its way there. Unfortunately, I think it's going to take a long time. I don't know. Maybe it's not going to happen in my lifetime. I hope so. I hope that I can actually make it to the Olympics and see. I was hoping in 2028 I could be a physical therapist on the sidelines. And if you're on the International Olympic Committee or you know somebody, I would love to come and help out and help to train and be a PT to help the athletes. If that doesn't happen, I don't think that we have to be deflated as a community, as a cheer community. I went online today and was looking to see, why are we not accepted as a sport? Because there are things that I don't know as are athletic as cheerleading that are considered an Olympic sport. And I don't think, the old rationale was because we are sideline or we're competitive. We are, we don't get funded. We're not recognized by NCAA. Even varsity doesn't recognize us as a sport. They consider us athletes, but they're not looking to qualify us as a sport. But I don't actually think that's the reason. And this is my own opinion. So if I'm wrong, I'm happy to take some feedback, and I would love to know your opinion too. So send me a message on Instagram or Facebook, or TikTok, or you can send me an email too. I'd love to have a conversation and not prove me wrong, because I don't think we'll know for a long while, but have a conversation about it and give me your point of view. Um, so I don't think any of those reasons are the reason that the IOC is not considering it. I don't know why, because when I look at the list on the International Olympic Committee, cheerleading is on there. International Federation of Cheer. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. International Cheer Federation. Either way, it's on there. It's on the list. So they recognize us. It's just a matter of when are they going to get us in. And I believe that could take a lot of different factors. I think there have to be enough teams that are competing. Like, we can't just send a team from the US to go and compete. I know for sure, because I've reached out, talked to people that are from London and from Australia. So, and I think South America, I know that there's a lot of growing population around the world. So I think that there's enough teams, but maybe they're not all registered yet. And to be able for the Olympic Committee to say, yep, you're ready to go. Maybe that's one reason. Maybe there's not enough space. Maybe, I read today that they just putting lacrosse back in, and like, that's a huge sport in, at least in our area. I know my best friend's sons play lacrosse, and man, they're crushing it. And so that's going to be recognized in LA. With Title IX, they wanted that balance between male and female. Cheerleading is a co-ed sport, or can be a co-ed sport. So maybe there's that little fine balance there, although I don't think Title IX exists outside the US, so that may not be the issue either. I think we can have a lot of speculation. I think the best thing that we can do is keep making our voice heard, keep showing up, keep showing what we're doing, keep showcasing our talents and our skills and our athleticism across the world, and continue having conversations, and positive conversations that show us as the athletes that we are, and keep representing as athletes, as opposed to bashing and being angry and putting someone down because they're not your level. Like, that's not what Olympic athletes do. That's going to lead me into, what do Olympic athletes do and how do they act, and the things that I've seen or heard from different Olympians that are in the Olympics this time. First of all, they get rest. When I was in college, I didn't sleep a whole lot, and I still am not a great sleeper. And I would be out and I'd be partying a lot more than I was thinking about training and getting into the gym and doing my sport. But you need to find that rest. You need to sleep. You need to have your, anywhere from 6 to 9 to 10 hours, depending on your age and where you're at. But you need to have some quality sleep. They have to sleep, they have to recover, they have to let their bodies, that's when your body regenerates and heals. And so if they're going to train as hard as they are, they need to have that time away and be able to get that rest. So sleep is a crucial piece. They need to eat right, or they do eat right. They are getting enough calories in. If you are spending 3 to 6 hours in a gym, even once a week, like, you're burning a lot of calories. And that doesn't mean you go peg out, and like my 21st birthday, I went and had 2 quarter pounders with cheese. That was dumb. if I could have had a chicken sandwich and, a salad, and with the bread and my tomato, and maybe some sweet potatoes, some, a little bit of healthy cheese or some avocado. Like I'm getting some healthy fats in, which is going to help me burn fuel, which can help fuel my body, healthy carbohydrates, and I'm getting some protein to help keep my muscles strong. So we need to eat the right foods. We need to eat enough foods. And a lot of times I think we don't eat enough, and that crashes our energy. And then we don't have the ability to progress. They strength train. They are doing workouts. They are, training all their body parts, not just the ones they see in the mirror. They are working their body and strength training that so that they can go and perform and do what they want to do. We talk about that all the time on the Cheer Athlete and on my social media, how important it is to strength train and to lift. And it's more important to be strong than flexible. Flexibility is important on injuries, but strength is doubly important. And I think these Olympic athletes are in the gym as well as training. And they train, they're in there 4 to 6 hours every day. They're spending their time. That's where their focus is. But they also in that training find time to recover. Maybe they're stretching at the end of the night. They are doing cold plunges and, just resting and allowing that time off to allow their bodies to heal and recover so that they can continue to do the training that they are needing to do to get to where they're at. And then, like Simone talked about, there's mental preparation and mindset. You have to believe that you're going to do what you want to do, that you can do what you want to do. You have to see yourself doing it, envision the fun of it and the excitement of it, and get into that feeling of what it feels like to be at an Olympic event or at Worlds or at your state competition. Like, how does that feel? You're taking the mat with your team. It's a final time, and you've just crushed your warm up. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, that's exciting. And then you sit and you visualize and you see yourself hitting it, and you see yourself right on count and hitting zero. And you feel your team energy as you're walking out, and you're all together with it. And the more you envision that for yourself as well as with your team, the more that carries over into the actual routine. So visualization, mindset, knowing that you can do what you're going to do, knowing that it's also okay to be afraid, and it's also okay to have to take a step back a little bit, take a breath before you move forward, and knowing that you're doing all the steps to help get you there. I'm sure there's a lot more, and I can't wait to read books by Simone or by Michael Phelps, or any of the Olympic athletes that are out there, because I think they have a unique ability to teach us what does it take to be at that level and to be, the best athlete that you can be. I think having the vision, I'm not going to remember his first name, but Fredericks Tumbles, he's on Instagram. He's a male cheerleader, male gymnast. And he happens to be from Massachusetts, which I think is really super cool, along with, I can't pronounce his name, but the guy on the pommel horse, Rosic, I think. He's actually from my region of Massachusetts. Like they showed videos of when they were kids, and they put it out there to the world. I'm going to be an Olympic athlete someday. I think if you're a kid listening to this, or you're a parent of a preteen who's got visions of doing cheer for the long haul and wants to be on the Olympics, fuel that. Yes, let's go, and let's start training for it now. I don't love that 8-year-olds are preparing to just do cheerleading only until they're 24, because I think there's other risks. But mentally, they could be training and doing, they could be running in the fall or in the spring. They could be playing across and developing other muscles so that they're better when they get back into cheer in the fall. So there's a lot of ways to develop athletes and to get them to the level that they want to be at. But if they have that focus, this is where I'm going to go, this is where I'm going to focus, that's what's going to get them there. And I think if you talk to any of those athletes, or you listen to those athletes, that's exactly what they say. So We went through some risk stretches. We went through my thoughts on why cheerleading is an Olympic sport yet, and yet is the key. Let's keep putting positive vibes out there. We'll get there someday. It's going to happen. And if it doesn't, we are showing the world what we can do through social media, and through other outlets. So keep doing that, keep plugging, keep it safe, keep progressing, keep your eye on the prize, and keep your vision moving forward, to keep putting the work in. And if whether or not we get to the Olympics, or whether or not the NCAA considers this a sport ever, who cares? We know that we're athletes, and we know that we're going to train like that, and we can show the fun of what we do through, whether you're on the sideline, or you're competitive, or you're just stunt, or you are an all-star cheerleader, or a high school cheerleader, or a college cheerleader. Like, it's all cheer. Even the NFL and NBA that have cheerleaders that I think is a little bit more dance than cheerleaders, but they still are athletes, and we are still showing the world what we can do. And the more we keep doing that, the more recognition on a positive note we're going to get. If you have questions about any of this, or you want to communicate, my email is laura@movebetterllc.com. You can always send me an email there, or find me on social media, the Cheer PT on Instagram, and I have the Cheer Athlete page on with LT the Cheer PT on Facebook. I'm under Laura Turner on Facebook, and on TikTok, I think I'm the Cheer PT or Laura Turner. But all of that stuff will be down below. I am looking to start doing some courses and education more on injury prevention and how to keep your body healthy. So keep an eye out for that as that comes. I'm going to leave a poll on Spotify to ask you, what would you like to see more of, and give me some feedback as far as, what are you looking to learn, because that's helpful for me. I have a huge ask. If you like this, if you found value from this, please share it to someone, and like and subscribe, so that more people listen and hear, and we keep talking about how to promote health and wellness for cheerleading, and how to reduce injuries and improve skill progression faster. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget, when in doubt, breathe it out. Take life one step at a time. You can do anything you put your mind to. Just like a sea turtle, you take it one step at a time. And you are responsible for your own vibes, like my friend Drew Keller used to say. I hope you have a wonderful day. Get after it.